Escaping the cave.
And I'm getting really sick of guys named Todd.
Tonzilla X-Pod.
I don't want to go into politics too much here. We can do that some other time. But there is a problem when the checks and balances break down, when you have basically 2.5 branches of government that are working in concert with someone who has no appreciation for the rule of law and norms. That is a problem. There's no two ways of looking at that. I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know what the effects are going to be. I have ideas. Some are more dire than others some days. You hear all this stuff. You hear people cry wolf so many times. All right, let's just see what happens.
Pretty much.
The stuff.
I'll admit it.
But the stuff, it still matters. Because, again, I don't want to go too far down this road, I promise. But just to imagine a scenario now in 2020 where we decide we want Joe Biden. How is anything going to work? Do you think what's happened over the last 4 years prior to that isn't going to come back in spades? Do you suppose that Benghazi isn't coming back or something contrived?
Jesus Christ, her emails has never went away.
Exactly.
There's still people beating that fucking dust and bones horse.
And that was before the last 4 years. A lot of these people think the Mueller report is just a soft coup. How are they going to react now for the next term, even if they lose?
I don't have faith in the system. I have faith in how it's set up, if that makes any sense.
That's what's being torn down, is how it's set up, because there's no checks and balances now. You don't have an independent judicial branch. When the Attorney General is Don Corleone's lawyer, that's what's being destroyed. That's the problem, because the partisanship, both in the populace and in government itself, is so adversarial that you cannot have a system of checks and balances. That's what Justin Amash has been harping on, is that it's not just Trump, it's the damage to the institutions, the faith in the institutions.
Is it so much Trump tearing them down, or are they tearing themselves down with, like what you're talking about, being so adversarial with it's just about winning? It's not about bipartisanship anymore, getting anything done. It's my side won.
I don't know. I don't know. If I were to sit here and think about this a lot and go back into the earlier podcasts in this edition of my podcast, when I'm talking about the politics and I'm talking about the winter is here stuff, it's terrifying. In all honesty, it doesn't matter if it's Trump. It doesn't matter if it's the Democrats. It doesn't matter if it's Trump, the Democrats, and the Republicans combined. The effect is the same. I mean, it's almost an exercise in masturbation to try to figure out where to put the blame. The effect is that the system doesn't work anymore. When a free people, I've said this before, when a free people lose the faith, when they lose the faith...
No, it's something about distinguishing the truth.
No, it's when they lose the faith of the governed. Right? When the institutions lose the faith of the governed, and those people are not oppressed, and those people aren't cracked down upon, they revoke consent to be governed at some point. There's only two ways that can go. Only two. One is revolution, civil war, fighting to fill the void, which leads to one camp either being obliterated or an authoritarian state where they're suppressed. Or the other alternative is the state enforcing trust in it. Authoritarianism. Either way you look at it. You don't have the faith of the governed. Authoritarianism is coming because peace will be enforced if it's not given voluntarily. It's not real hard to see why that is. Unless you want to live in a state of chaos and a warlord state. Anarchy.
And I see the latter, not the anarchy, but before that, the latter more plausible than revolution. Because I've said it before, and I'm sure you guys have said it before. I think we're too lazy to revolt at this point in our society. We're too comfortable.
It doesn't matter. Either way, you like being free? Do you like not being able to have the podcast shut down because we're talking about controversial ideas? Stuff like that? I mean, where do you think it's going to go? It doesn't matter who's to blame. It doesn't matter which road, really. At some point, it doesn't matter. It's going to end the same in an authoritarian state.
Just who's in charge will be the variable.
Exactly. Who cares? Well, being a white guy, if I got to choose an authoritarian, well, I'm going to choose the Republicans. They like me. I'm not going to choose the authoritarian that hates me. Would you?
No, I've made that point too.
You want to be a Jew in Hitler's Germany?
Why would I want to be a part of a side that wants nothing to do with me?
Yeah, that's why when you hear people talk about these Trump voters always voting against their own interests, that's ridiculous. It's asinine. No, they're not. They have other interests that maybe supersede economic interests. Maybe they see something you don't. Maybe they see the disinformation, propaganda, however you want to look at it. Maybe they see through it better than you do, and they see it for what it is. The same way you can see the Hannity crap for what it is, and they can't. And maybe they've determined that maybe is a little bit more important to them. I would.
EscapingTheCave.com. Also on Facebook and at ETCPod on Twitter. At least for now.